Something really remarkable happened over the weekend. You might have missed it. Elon Musk's SpaceX used giant chopsticks to recover one of its rockets.
We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now
What you are watching was unthinkable. That was a rocket that had taken a payload up into space and then came back down. Will totally change spaceflight. NASA could only dream of doing this. After all, they needed Elon Musk to rescue 2 astronauts they stranded on the International Space Station. This weekend, Trump said he would give Elon Musk a position in his administration if he wins.
So he will be in the cabinet?
Not in the cabinet. He doesn't want to be in the cabinet. He just wants to be in charge of cost cutting. We'll have a new position, Secretary of Cost Cutting, okay? Elon wants to do that.
With us now, Wall Street Journal reporter who has covered Musk extensively, the author of Everything War, Amazon's ruthless quest to own the world and remake corporate power, Dana Mattioli. Dana, good to see you. Thank you. Big scoops that you've gotten on Elon Musk and his entry into politics. Tens of millions to Republican causes far earlier than previously known. SpaceX wielded dominance in rocket launches to boost Starlink. Elon Musk's hands-on push to win 800,000 voters for Donald Trump. Does Elon Musk understand what he's getting into in the full contact sport of politics, or does he not care?
You know, this is the world's richest man with one of the biggest microphones on earth. He owns X, right? And he has fully gotten behind Donald Trump this election cycle after exclusively voting Democratic just a few years earlier. So there's this remarkable political transformation we're seeing happening in real time, pretty much. I think, you know, it's TBD to see how effective he'll be in this race. He started this major super PAC that has had some stumbles.
Is he doing this because it's a sincerely held belief? Is it an ego thing? What have you figured out that is making him all of a sudden get involved in politics in a way that no billionaire, and certainly no one who has so much to risk from, in a business sense, in dealing with the government as Elon Musk?
Yeah, it's just really fascinating because he didn't really want to be the face of this, you know, big Trump supporter, because there is a lot on the line. This is a man behind 6 companies, and until recently, it wasn't very popular for CEOs, especially, to come out in support of Donald Trump. They were sort of castigated online, and people were becoming angry. Elon did that, even though he said he wasn't going to, you know, give financial support to a candidate. He very vocally endorsed Trump after the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt. Then he also started a major super PAC that he said to his associates.
What can that super PAC really do?
The super PAC, he's told people around it that he would be willing to give as much as $45 million a month to Donald Trump's reelection. And they're really focused on the ground game for the Trump campaign. So that's door knocking in swing states, getting people to register to vote, actually getting them to get absentee ballots. But what's really fascinating to me is he's thrown his weight behind Trump in such a way. And this was not even his first choice. We reported exclusively that Elon, before Trump, was all in on Governor Ron DeSantis and gave $10 million to that campaign. So he's really just behind the Republicans at this point. And, you know, Trump's obviously the candidate.
So John Fetterman, senator from Pennsylvania, the Democrat who won, I think you could say against probably not all odds, but against a lot of odds 2 years ago, had this to say about Elon Musk. Take a listen.
But, you know, now he is using, and Musk is willing to actually show up at these kinds of rallies. And I witnessed that in Butler County a couple days ago. You know, most endorsements don't count for much in this business, but Musk is incredibly popular, and he has an appeal to a demographic that Democrats have been struggle with.
Is there any evidence that Elon Musk is making a difference in the race?
I think the proof will be in the pudding, you know, after the election. How many of these 800,000 voters that he wants to get to the polls in swing states actually show up? And when I speak to GOP operatives, I have to tell you, they're a little bit worried. the Musk super PAC, where Donald Trump basically outsourced a lot of this work, has fired a bunch of their vendors that are doing the door knocking very close to the race. So there's been a bunch of like really high profile stumbles. I think in some ways people around him have told me that he has underestimated how hard politics is, even though he could, send a rocket to space and he has created the world's biggest EV maker. Politics is a different beast.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.